You're listening to the Gabe Molina podcast.
I'm going to tell you a story, okay? I got offered a job to go to Haiti. I don't remember if probably a couple years ago, it was like Haiti was in the news big time, like completely taken over by gang members or whatever it was.
It still is, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but you know how the news cycle is, if it's not...
Every 2 weeks
right.
it changes.
So during that, I got a message from a network that I've gotten work from before. And this guy goes, we're going to go protect the president's cousin. I can't pay you, but when we leave, we can sell the G-Wagons that we have, and that's how I'll pay you. So whatever we get, we'll split up that way. I have enough sense to turn something like that down, right?
Yeah.
There was much less reassurance there, but I'm just saying, like, these weird jobs come up. People are paying real money. You can go. There's nothing saying you can't go to Haiti and drive around the president's cousin. You know what I'm saying? It's just not something that people normally do, but that's the world I live in.
Yeah.
You know, I've done storm work where, like, Kentucky, there was a big flood in Kentucky, and I went and provided security for like $40 an hour, hotel comp, travel comp, like ridiculous amounts of money, but it was gone in 6 weeks or whatever. They downsized. So it's like, that sounds weird. Why would you go do this or that? That's just the world I live in.
Yeah.
You know, we'll get, start talking about this one specifically and everything like that. One thing I want to make super clear, I'm not denying, I'll tell you this, my attorney told me the federal government, they saw your podcast and everything like that. You need to stop or whatever. I was like, dude, it's all out there, man. I don't have anything to hide. The court of public opinion, is important too. I am not denying that I had illegals in my vehicle and I was transporting them further into the United States. The issue is that I was lied to. And there's 2 points of the law and how it's written, right? Knowing or should have known, or reckless disregard. You cannot say that I knew because I have hard evidence that I was lied to. And nobody who knows how much they're getting paid has already said yes, was reassured that it wasn't illegal, ask those questions. That's not a reckless person. If you can consider or believe that somebody could be innocent of this crime, somebody who's just totally ignorant of anything that they're doing right, then that's how I acted. I and my attorney think that they're going to use that against me and say he was creating an alibi. The first question I asked, and I can show you the proof, I'll post it wherever you could post it. I asked, are they legal? And he said yes. They're going to say that I was creating an alibi 10 seconds in the conversation that, my first contact with this person was trying to create an alibi to smuggle illegal aliens further into the United States. That doesn't even make logical sense. That I already knew that this was an illegal op and this and that, and immediately I was trying to establish an alibi. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So let me ask you this. And this is me not understanding the contractor world. I've talked, Gary does some contractor stuff. Mm-hmm. I did a podcast with Mike Ramirez from the local area. He does the same kind of work. So, and this is just me being naive. If you're a contractor, a security contractor, are you straight up your own security contractor, or is it one of those things where, and this sounds so stupid, but this is how my brain works. Is it like almost like a modeling agency, right? You work for a company that kind of sends you out.
I wouldn't know anything about that. A modeling agency. I'm not that pretty.
They used to do them in the 80s, so I've paid a lot of attention back then.
No. So how it usually goes, and my wife is like, you need to tell them like how this goes. Like, it's not a normal job. Even my parents are always like, why don't you just get a normal job? I was like, I was a dumb Marine.
Don't do it, man. I got a normal job. It's not fun.
There's only a certain amount of things that I'm qualified for. I'm so deep down like the rabbit hole of, doing stupid, little month-long gigs or whatever for money. It's like, that's just the world I live in now. Yeah. And I have a good network and, everything like that. But
is it kind of like a Craigslist thing? Like
it could be, yeah. So I mostly rely heavily on my networks now, right? Mm-hmm. Guys that I've met who will bring me into stuff, right? Like, hey, I'm doing this. They need 2 more guys. Whoever gets here first, that's who's getting it.
So these are just associates or people that that, hey, know you're in the business. they're maybe a little more connected to people seeking.
We bounce stuff off
Okay.
each other all the time. Usually there's like some admins of some chats,
Yeah.
like either on Signal or WhatsApp, who will have a posting, and you just DM the admin. Usually they're like a manager or like a headhunter, but like whoever's available. Oh, I'm not overseas right now. I can go do this thing, or hey, I need work. They really just come up. Let me give you some examples. Like workplace violence is a big one. Like high risk terminations, right? Company fires somebody and they're afraid, he's going to come back and do something.
Right.
That could pay $50 an hour during working hours for 2 weeks. Strikes, right? Some like union areas have strikes and they'll come hire like 20 dudes to come do strikes, and they pay hotel, travel, everything, good day rate, $500 a day, whatever it is.
So there's a place that like I guess somebody who's going to employ people like you can go to, whether it's a site or something that says, hey, I'm looking for, and I guess that's kind of what I don't understand is it like, hey, I've got a business and I know you and you know people, or is it, hey, I've got a business, I need to find somebody, so let me go to LinkedIn type thing, and not necessarily LinkedIn, but something like that where
I've
there's
seen
a
LinkedIn,
hub that people can go to.
It's so interconnected. Like it truly is just like a guy texting me that he's working. I mean, the companies have these contracts, right? But it's usually nationwide. Like I just got hit up to go to California for wildland fire security from a guy that I knew. I requested to go. The government denied me being able to go and work and provide for my family. But
so
anyway,
can you not work at all right now in that field?
I didn't mean to get off, but I have to work.
Right.
That's one of the conditions of my pretrial release, that I have to seek and find employment. What do? I travel for work. I am restricted to the Western District of Texas, which is like Austin down to wherever west, I think El Paso probably.
So you can work. They just limit your boundary,
I can't pass a DoorDash background check. My DoorDash background check just got, and I had a top secret clearance before, like the day before, up into the day before I got arrested. It gets flagged immediately. So that's what I do. I mean, I do security. You can't, and anyway, my pretrial officer said, well, you can request to travel. She even said that I could request to carry a firearm for the purposes of work, which I can't be in possession of any now. It's one of the court orders.
Okay, so that's a court order thing because you're not convicted currently. You haven't even gone to trial, right?
Nope.
So it's not like you're somebody who's now a felon and can no longer touch a firearm.
Correct.
It's just court ordered thing that says, hey, you cannot. Okay.
And I'm innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
Period. I don't know. I'm not questioning the judge, whatever. If this is part of the process, I wouldn't know. I've never been involved with the law, but I have a court order that I can't possess firearms, and it is what it is. But she said I could get, either a waiver or, change the conditions, and they just denied me being able to work an unarmed gig in California on the wildland fires. It is what it is. I could have gone and made, it was like $400 a day plus mileage. And when you're out there in the woods, you're driving like ridiculous. So it's like, that's $400 or $500 a day that I'm missing out for my family.
Wow.
I haven't worked almost 5 months.
Really? Wait, what year was the incident?
I got arrested March 2nd.
Okay.
Of this year.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So we kind of went all over the place for a little bit just because I was trying to gather information in my brain too. But so you get a phone call from somebody you trust about a job, or is it just some random person?
This was off a Facebook ad.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so
where I've gotten jobs before.
Okay. So it's something you're familiar with. Mm-hmm. You've got, like you just said, you got jobs there before. So they tell you what you're going to do, and it was to, I don't know if escort's the word, but to drive somebody from a border town to San Antonio area.
Right.
And so you ask the question, you say, hey, are these people legal? They say yes. Were they able to provide any sort of documentation for you, or was it just word of mouth?
No, they didn't provide me documentation before I went, but they said that they had it in hand.
Okay.
And I figured, too easy, right? If I don't feel comfortable, I just won't do the pickup, right? I picked up a woman and her daughter, which one of the Border Patrol agents said, for you, thank God that she had her birth certificate. It was her mother. Hands down. There's a young girl with her mother. Name a more vulnerable group of people.
Sure.
That gave me comfort, right? And she had.
That's funny that he said that, because it's like, yeah, I see that point.
Right. She had her birth certificate. They had passports. How much of a,
So they had a passport from Mexico?
I don't remember.
And I guess my question is, what
I think they're from Guatemala.
Okay. Oh, okay. I follow you. So they presented these documents when you picked them up?
They had. I never saw the birth certificate, but the Border Patrol agent told me that she had one. I didn't even know it was something that she had, and that was never discussed. But the passport, I mean, isn't that the whole thing with like trafficking illegals? Like they take your passport, they take your documents, and you're just in this,
Sure.
hell, right? Why would people who were in this country illegally have valid documentation on them? That didn't make any sense to me. So that gave me comfort, upon pickup.
And I think it would me too, right? I mean, if I saw a passport for them, and I would assume, I mean, I'm not a customs agent, but I would assume, okay, that everything seems on the up and up. Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of heat on that other video. Like, you live in San Antonio, you should know.
Know what?
That this is what goes on. And I don't. I don't know what training you want me to have, or that, like, you go to Home Depot and there's, early enough in the morning, there's day workers. Everybody knows they're illegals. That doesn't mean that I know, you go to any, Mexican restaurant in San Antonio.
Well, here's the thing, right?
Illegal, but,
Here's the thing. They say you should know better, but if you sit there and go, hey, I don't know if you're legal, let me see some more paperwork or additional paperwork. And now all of a sudden you're a racist dirtbag. So
yeah, right. I mean, and that's not this context that we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that, and we probably should touch on this. These guys said that they were with the church. They gave me I could tell you these exact addresses that I was picking up and dropping off of. Why would you give me that much information if this wasn't?
Was it a church? Like, did it look like a church, or was it just a random building?
I'm getting some heat for that too. Why wouldn't the pickup be at a church, right? No one's just living in a church. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hang on, bro.
I assumed.
Let me tell you something. I got some relatives. They're Pentecostal. And the majority of the time, they lived in the church, and the church was a house.
Right.
So, I mean, in a small town, that they can't afford to build buildings. So a lot of times they'll take over a house, and, they'll run a church out of there. So I could... Now, granted, maybe that's I don't know if that's a rare occurrence. But for me, if I came up to a house and people told me this is a church... I got cousins that did that in George West, and they was legitimately their church. It was just a house they could afford, kind of thing. So,
right. I don't have an answer for that, to be honest with you. But the whole house thing, it was just like, I assume it's like a member of the community, and they're like, you can stay here until you can get a ride wherever. People are saying, why wouldn't they just get a $40 bus ticket? Buses aren't the safest place for women and children. I rode a bus one time when I was a single Marine. I looked at the plane ticket price and the bus ticket price. I was like, I could do 36 hours on a bus from Virginia to San Antonio, and it was awful. And I was just a guy, so I was like, a bus ticket, okay, yeah, that's fine, but maybe you need an ID.
What were they paying for this trip?
$750 per transport.
What's funny? And I heard we're talking. And I can kind of see people's point. And I'm not, and this is just me thinking as we're talking, right? Mm-hmm. There's two things going on here in my brain. One is, here's a guy that this is his gig. This is what he does for a living. Mm-hmm. And when you come across, for me, if I was in your shoes, just being Joe Blow Gabe, for me, it's like, okay, this is what I do for a living. I've done several of these, and I'm looking, maybe I'm a knucklehead, right? But I'm looking at, what is the job? What does it pay? And how soon can I be home? And what's the value in taking this job financially? Mm-hmm. Am I going to break even? Am I going to do pretty good? That's when you're in charge of your own career, that's how you're looking at things. Armchair quarterback, will go, yeah, they could have taken a $40 bus ride to San Antonio. But at the same time, here's paperwork, here's documentation. I'm being told something, you know. Yeah, that's tough, man. When you sit there and you break it down like that. But here people are in hindsight. You know, it happened a handful of months ago. You know, people have been able to see your other interview and get to know about your case and kind of armchair the quarterback that stuff. And hindsight's 20/20, right? But it's like,
yeah. I mean, hindsight's 20-0 for me, right? Like looking back and I'm like, I could have just been like, I'm too tired to go do this. Like somebody else go do it.
yeah,
But, you know, I've got 2 kids, man. I've got one on the way. I just finished my house. Like, you know, and I don't want anybody to think I was desperate for money and willing to do anything to, you know, make money. Cause, you know,
sure.
It wasn't an exorbitant amount of money. And come to find out while I was in jail, guys are telling me, you got robbed, dude. I got paid $4,000 to go do my transport. Like, that didn't seem like it. Yeah, 100%, $4,000 a head. And so I was like, that doesn't mean anything to me, man. Cause, you know, the money, you know, I figured they're well-funded. Churches are well-funded. Everybody knows, you know, and I didn't look too much into the church. They gave me like a pastor's number to call. Like, they gave me all this information.
What's a pastor's number?
Like a phone number.
Oh, pastor. I'm sorry.
Father,
gotcha,
whoever. Gotcha. You know, if there's any problems with, you know, whatever, you know, just give them a call. Here's your point of contact, whatever. All like very professional, up and up. The advertisement, I don't know if you've seen it. Rocco posted it. It was like lodging provided and you know, fuel costs covered. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I just wish these guys had been like, all right, here's what this is. Do you want in or not? We're paying. But why spin this whole backstory? Like, we're with a church and, you know, I'm just getting done with mass. I swear to God, like sending me pictures of like it's probably like AI or whatever now that I think about it. It was like, they took a picture in church of like the congregation and stuff. I was like, oh, these are like church people. They're just, you know, they're just weird, you know, and they just gave me more and more reassurances. And then if there was like delays, you know, this family wants to go with these people and, you know, they didn't get their paperwork and they want to stick together. And, you know, they're saying they're at the border patrol station now, getting everything together or whatever. It's just all these lies, man. And I was like, looking back, I was like, they were just roping me in, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I've had
It's very elaborate. It's very elaborate.
And it makes sense because nobody wants to face 10 years in prison for any amount of money. Like, not any amount that they're willing to pay. You know what I mean? So it's like, is this what they're doing now? Because that's scary. Like, now are they just not even like, you know, telling people like, I don't know. I just never thought that our networks would cross like a human smuggler or mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm also in that mindset of like, I don't know drug dealers and like bad people. You know what I mean? But our networks pass, man. Sure. And this is a result, you know.
Well, you know, it's funny because like I think that people don't realize how involved cartel activity is in our area. It's everywhere. You know, it's involved in a lot of places, and you don't see it. You don't think about it. Maybe you do see it and don't recognize it, but it happens a lot. And I think that a lot of people don't realize how. A lot of times we think that cartel behavior is very far away, you know, and it's super close, man. Right. Let me ask you, when you drive down there, you get to the location, what are you seeing at the location? What does it look like? Who's there? Who greets you? How many people did you interact with? How did the initial contact take place?
I rolled up, like I said, to a normal address. I was in almost constant contact with my contact. I said 2 minutes, whatever.
Was it all via text or did y'all ever verbally talk?
We talked,
okay.
Yeah, on the phone, yeah. But it was through WhatsApp. And I think that's an important point too, and I'll come back to that. But pulled straight up to the address, and I mean, young woman and her daughter just standing there. You know, they gave him a description of my vehicle, you know, who to look out for, and they get in it. And
so you didn't actually greet anybody at the location. They saw your truck and they came out to it.
Right. I mean, it was late, you know. I couldn't tell you exactly the time. I think it's like 2 hours for me. So it's probably like 11 or so.
In the morning or night?
Evening.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, you know, I don't know if that means anything, but hey, how you doing? I mean, I was in contact with my contacts. And I'm sure she was, you know what I mean? There's like, compartmentalized.
Okay.
Like she didn't know anything about me. You get what I'm saying? I
Oh,
think that's
okay,
kind of
okay.
by design.
Yeah.
But like I was like, I'm here, and she was there waiting for me. So it's really that simple. You know, there was no like knock on the door. Hi, you know, there's none of
Right.
that. You know, it's just like, okay, this is very simple. You know, we're taking a ride to San Antonio. I don't even think she spoke Spanish, so, and I don't really speak Spanish, but I said, you know, are you okay? You know, necesitan médico or anything like that? You know, need medical? No, no, no. I said, okay. And I think I asked her like, music? Do you want music? You know, whatever. And we started driving. He sent me a pin. My contact said, you know, this is where they're going. You know, hit the pin, and off we went.
Real quick before we move on, what was the mom and the daughter's, I guess, I don't want to use the word. Maybe it's not mannerisms, but what was the vibe you got off of them? Like, were they calm? Were they a little bit skittish? Were they just kind of going through the motions?
They're super normal people, man.
Really?
Like there was nothing, no indication to me, you know.
They didn't look scared or anything like that?
No. You know, I turned around once they got in the vehicle, you know, I was like, you know, saw that they had their stuff in their hand, you know, and, you know, I wanted to tell them to put their seatbelt on. I think they ended up doing it just because that's how I am. But,
Sure.
you know, I just want to make sure they're okay. And, you know, because I don't know what they're escaping from, or, you know what I mean? Or
Sure.
whatever, you know. And, but they're like, no. I said, you know, I'm also like pretty big fella, and, you know, God knows who they came into contact with or what they think I'm capable of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to have too much interaction with them. It was really so simple. All the interaction was taking place between me and my boss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, let's go.
Are you in your own
okay.
truck, or is this a rental or something?
And that's another reason, like the pay wasn't really any red flags. I'm like, this is late at night. It's my personal vehicle. I'm inconvenience to me. Like, I'm going to be compensated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in the contract world, I urge people who are like getting out of the Marine Corps or whatever, military, and like, okay, I want to go start doing contracts because it can be fun. You know, you do cool stuff, concerts or VIP stuff or billionaires or whatever it is, right?
Sure.
Like, get what's yours. Like, no, you're paying for my hotel. You need me, you're going to pay for me to be there. You're paying for my gas to get up there. You're going to fly me out. You know what I mean? Don't do anything out of your own pocket. So I'm kind of at that level where I'm like, hey, I'm using my own car. What if I get a pop tire? I don't want to.
Sure.
If I'm doing something, I don't want to be, you know, in the hole after I'm done with it. You know what I mean? So $750 didn't seem that crazy to me, man. To be honest with you, I know it's, you know, it's not a lot of money, but you know that pays my bills for a week or whatever. You know, it's my groceries for the month or whatever. You know.
Yeah. And then plus I guess the trip itself in totality is, in the grand scheme of things, is almost in your backyard, right? It's not terribly far away. It's you know, it's not in another state. It's not across country. I mean, it's literally kind of within several hundred miles.
Right. When I was doing the wildland fire, sorry, it was just funny. I was 53 miles from the closest gas station, and I was sleeping in a tent.
Oh, really? Wow.
So I was like, "You're going to pay me good for this."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm getting paid for my inconvenience, man. It's you know,
Sure.
it's not that crazy, you know.
Well, when you're a contractor, I think even in other fields, you know, contractor work, you make good money because you're working for yourself. It's per job, so you have to make sure. You know, my employer pays me a certain amount, but he charges a different amount for me because of, you know, office use, computer stuff. You know, there's all kinds of things that you have to be
I don't want to ever know that number.
Yeah, I don't either
mad.
because it'll hurt my feelings. So how far of a drive was it from the pickup to the checkpoint, the Border Patrol checkpoint? About an hour or something?
Golly.
It doesn't have to be exact, but
It was near Bracketville.
Okay.
I know that. And it's kind of like Del Rio, Bracketville, Uvalde, Floresville, San Antonio, right? It's kind of like west to east. So
y'all weren't, basically, I guess I'm just asking y'all, the three of y'all weren't in this car very long before you hit the checkpoint.
no. And like I've driven 20 hours in a row before, man. Like, you know, if I've got music or just, I pray, you know, if, you know, I'll just repeat a prayer over and over and just to make the time go by, or a podcast, right?
Yeah.
I can go forever. So it's hard for me to gauge the amount of time it took, but I will tell you this, they just released the interview to us that they did with, the woman
This was at the border, at the checkpoint?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So it's a recorded interview. And the Border Patrol agent asked, what was his demeanor? Because I think, obviously, real smugglers, they're tearing through checkpoints and high-speed chases and rolling vehicles and shooting their way through whatever, right? Like, so they asked him, like, what was his demeanor? And she specifically said calm and tranquil, and he wasn't speeding. Because I'm a professional doing a job, you know what I mean? I'm not like, trying to avoid anybody. I'm just like, this is a little weird, but, I'm getting paid for it, so let's go. I feel comfortable doing this. I'm not going to drive like a maniac. I'm not going to drive like a criminal or somebody who thinks that they're doing something wrong because I didn't. As I'm rolling up to the checkpoint, sorry, I don't mean to get ahead of your questions.
No, this is where I want to go is the interaction at the checkpoint, how that unfolded.
Right. So I could see the checkpoint from pretty far is the only thing out there. The route took me through... what's this road? I keep forgetting. Like County Road 344 or something like that. Paved road. I didn't make any weird turn where I was like, oh, this is like, okay, they want me to go this. Like, never crossed my mind, right? Like, there's only so many roads out there.
Sure.
So.
And I want people to understand that in rural Texas, you're either on a main road or you're on a farm to market road.
Right.
And a lot of those roads, what people don't understand when they go, hey, you took a back road and you went the long way. And what people don't understand is a lot of these farm to market roads, they are, and I could be getting this wrong, but it's always been my understanding, sometimes they split ranches, but they try and go around ranches. And so those farm to market roads aren't necessarily, or the county roads, they're not the straightest from A to B point. They're going around old ranches that have been in Texas and forever,
Sure.
And so that's why when you get off on one of those roads, whether they're FM or like I said, a county road, they take you way out of the way, because they're going around hundreds of acres of ranches, or if not thousands of acres of ranches.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've driven some of the ones. There's one south that it's literally driving in a quarter square every time. You hang a left, you hang a right, you hang a left, and there's no curve, and it's literally following ranches. So that's what people need to understand, that out in these rural areas, it's in Texas, and it may be like that in other states, but a lot of times when you get off the main road, you're going way out of the way for that reason.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, again, looking back, that makes sense to me, but truly, I was just,
following Google.
In my mantra, just mindlessly driving, following Google, 20 miles to my next turn, sweet. Glaze over, cruise control, make sure I don't drift to sleep, right? Like, that's where I was at. And I see the checkpoint, right? It's like, it's pretty flat out there. And I know what a checkpoint looks like. I set up checkpoints, it's at night, it's like blazing lights, face the direction of the traffic, and everything like that. And I was like, okay, we're going to roll up to a checkpoint. No biggie, right? I might have said something to the lady, I turn music down, turn off my headlights. I know how to appropriately roll up to a checkpoint, slow it down way before,
Yeah.
And I want to let you know, and I keep saying this, I could have just said, get out of my car right now. There's the case, man. I could have drove through that checkpoint. I could say, hey, I just saw two people back there. They wouldn't have questioned me, right? I absolutely could have done that. I didn't, because I didn't think it was of any concern.
True.
What I did do is I copied and pasted that pastor's number just in case we get held up. Hey, this is my contact. Here you go, right?
Did you show that to the agents at the checkpoint?
I didn't have the chance.
Oh, okay.
Rolled up to the checkpoint. Very standard set of questions. I do remember where it got like, okay, something's not right? Because I told them, they pulled me over to secondary. They said something to them. One agent was talking to me. I rolled in the back window, and they said something to them. I could tell that there was a shift at that point, because they probably said, are you in the United States legally or whatever? She probably said no. But, the officer said, go ahead and pull over to secondary. There's three of them. They start kind of surrounding the vehicle. I get it. You know what I'm saying? They're setting up their geometry of fire to make sure if I take off or pull a gun that they've got the jump on me, right? So I'm super like, that's fine, do your thing, right? Step out of the car. I inform them, hey, I have a firearm on me. Just tell me what to do. You tell me what to do. I'm not going to make any moves. You tell me what to do. I'm trying to make them comfortable. They pull, I put my hands up, whatever. They disarm me. It's fine. And they throw me in cuffs. And the first thing the agent that was in charge of that checkpoint at that point is he said, you're committing a felony. This is a felony. And I was like, no, like you have it wrong. Whatever I said, I was like,
And you said the demeanor of the mother and maybe the kid had already changed when they talked to the agent?
No, I could tell the Border Patrol's agent's demeanor changed, right? Gotcha. Okay, now they know that something's up, right? Gotcha. And therefore I know something's up, right? Because, they pull me over to secondary and continue to question me. At that point, it's a detainment, so I want to act accordingly, right? Yeah, and they put me in the back of the car. Time kind of compresses when you're stressed, right? But 3 or 4 minutes, I was in the back of the car,
What did they tell you other than that you were committing a felony? Were they pretty just to the point and
yeah,
getting you put in the car and everything, all that good stuff?
For them, it was probably super normal. This happened so much. You know what I mean? For the Border Patrol, gotcha. It was just and even my lawyer said, because my lawyer's going to do his thing, he's going to try to find procedural errors they did or whatever. He was like, they're really by the book with you. I was like, yeah, because they've probably done this a million times. You know what I mean? Never once will you catch me saying the Border Patrol didn't do their job. You know what I mean? Tons of respect. You're going to think this is dumb, but I applied to be a Border Patrol agent since I got arrested. I want somebody to see it and say, okay, this guy's on our side. You know what I mean? I'm not doing that for any kind of stunt. I would love a regular career. At this point, it's let me show you that I'm on the right side of this. Yeah. I'm not. Well,
you gotta be careful with that kind of thing too, because
what do you mean?
if I'm a Border Patrol agent or supervisor, I'm going, this guy's being a smart ass. No,
I haven't even told anybody that I did that. Okay. I just truly, once I get out of this, I want to be a champion for that side of it. You know what I mean? So they took me, let's go back. They took me back to their station in Brackettville. So I don't know exactly where I got pulled over. I just know the closest station was Brackettville.
Okay.
I was chumping up with these dudes. One of the dudes came over. He goes, "You fucked up." I was like, "Yeah, apparently." I don't know what's going on, man, but super stressed out. I convinced one of the Border Patrol agents to get a message to my wife because she's just expecting me home in an hour or whatever it was. Night just totally.
They don't let you have a phone call or anything if you. I guess it's different than of city police or county police. I guess.
I didn't get a phone call till 3 days in.
Oh, gotcha.
Not a word to my wife. Nobody. So, but I managed to get a message through a Border Patrol. I just said, dude, just tell my wife that I'm alive. You know what I'm saying? And so he relayed the message or whatever. But dude, I was in there talking to these dudes about how to set up their rifles. You know what I mean? Honestly.
Are you in Border Patrol jail, or did they bring you to San Antonio to the county or something?
So the first 3 days while they're trying to secure the actual arrest warrant, I don't know exactly, waiting for the magistrate to sign off, that can be detained. Excuse me. I'm in holding, temporary holding, at the station.
Oh, gotcha.
I thought that was jail. But it's just temporary holding while they get whatever paperwork, and then you get sent to big boy jail, which is what is it called?
It's not the federal. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a federal detention center.
Okay, there's one in where?
Valverde.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 20 minutes from, I think, from where I was at. And that's big boy jail. You get a phone call pretty much immediately when you get there. So I just, spent 5 minutes crying with my wife. Yeah. I don't know this is crazy, right? And
what's crazy is when you're not a career criminal, and I've thought about this before because I love watching things. It's I watch a lot of shows, right? And when people go to court and they're found guilty, they're immediately hauled off. There's no, hey, go say bye to your family for a week and pack your shit. It's
dude,
you're gone, dude.
Every bit of this is what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's freaking, it's just been a whirlwind, man. Nothing can prepare you, I'm not conditioned to not have my freedom. Like I had to ask permission to go to like the coast last weekend. That's awful to me, dude. Like I'm very much a libertarian, like very like, like don't like being told what to do, you know, because I'm a good person. I follow the law.
Oh man, I got the same habits, man. You know, I this is my thing is I don't do. Okay, I take it back. I try not to do anything wrong. So when something happens that kind of makes me feel violated, it pisses me off because it's like, man, I don't ever do anything wrong. Right. What do you mean I can't blah, blah, blah?
So that's the trade-off, right? Like in society, we behave. We get to do what we want, right? And well, within the parameters of the law. But like, and that kind of brings me to my next point, man. Like it doesn't even make logical sense that for 13 years I avoided any kind of crime. I got a reckless speeding ticket when I was like 20, when I was in the Marines, right? I didn't just up and decide one day for $750 to throw away my career, my reputation, my, everything, my clearance, right? Sure. My ability to own firearms, right? I had to sell off all my guns, man. I was like losing my freaking everything, man. Like it's my world. Yeah. I teach people to shoot. I've taught friends to shoot. Teach all my sisters to shoot. You know what I mean? My parents, like, dude, like my whole life, like truly rug swept out from under me. It doesn't even make logical sense that I would go do. I wasn't in a position to where I was that desperate to do something to throw that all. It's so dumb, dude. I was in EMT school, so like GI Bill was paying my bills. I get disability from the VA. I was picking up pretty regular gigs. I was doing little weekend stuff at, whatever, right? I talked about this and somebody was like, somebody needs to look into that. Cause I was protecting, like literally a pile of cash at Walgreens.
Hey, let them look into it. Cause if you didn't take any of this shit, then look into it.
Yeah. No, they were saying like, that needs to be looked into because that sounds like money laundering. Like, dude, people on the internet are so freaking arrogant, man. Like, it's people paying cash to pay their rent. Sure. You know, those like companies that take whatever, that they're just cash heavy at the beginning of the month because people are coming and paying their rent. There's nothing nefarious going on, man. Like, a company comes and picks it up and applies it to whatever rental agency, like there's nothing shady about that. That's a job I've gone and done like consistently every beginning of the month, right? It's like I go work armed security in a freaking bulletproof vest, like for $40 an hour, just stand there at a Walgreens. Like, dude, my buddy just texted me about this gig he's on. He's working an 8-hour shift. Sometimes he does not go in. I'm not going to tell you the details, but it's completely above board. He's getting paid $400 a day. He goes, I haven't done anything since Thursday. I've gotten paid for each of those days. What was it? Is it Tuesday or what's today? No, say Sunday. Sorry. Yeah. But like, that's my world, man. Like, and some of them suck. Some of them you're like doing a lot of work, so I'm, you take them as they come,
There are jobs like that and people need to understand, like even something like that, it doesn't mean anything shady is going on.
Right.
I mean, granted, it is security, but like I had a fucking welder buddy. The oil rig would pay him hundreds of dollars an hour to sit there and wait because it was cheaper to have him on site than it was to shut the rig down and wait for him to get there.
Right.
So I mean that's part of some gigs that people need to understand. But let me ask you, this is kind of where I'm like, okay, what's the foul up with the passports, right? So this lady has a passport. Mm-hmm. She's here in the country. I don't leave South Texas, so I don't know how passports work. Mm-hmm. But why, at what point, and maybe this hasn't been flushed out, if I got a lady with me and she tells Border Patrol, hey, I'm here illegally, but she's got a fucking passport on her, is it that passport hasn't been stamped by customs? Or, I mean, that's kind of what I don't understand. I don't understand about passports. It's like, okay, if I go to another country, they have to view my passport and stamp it, and now I'm here legally. Or is it that, hey, she had her passport, she just hadn't gone through customs and had it stamped? Is it kind of something like that?
I wish I could give you a better answer. I don't know.
Okay.
I verified faces, and
that
was it. Looking back, I wish I had done more. That being said, I don't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
I'm not in customs. I've traveled a lot. I know what my stamps look like, but I don't I saw faces and
Yeah.
I wasn't going to flip to her passport. You know what I mean? Either of them. So, you know, I don't know if they probably investigated at the stop, right? She probably relinquished that paperwork and they looked there. I don't know. I was in the back of the car. And it's by design, right? They separate everybody,
Sure.
right? Because they want to get this.
Yeah, they don't
see
want
if the stories line
on the
up or
same
whatever.
page, right?
You know, whatever the situation was, I don't know. I don't know what the, you know, there's no question that she was here illegally.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. Because that interview, she's like, just straight up saying, you know, this is how, you know, I think she came off TikTok or something like that and contacted somebody or whatever. What I will tell you, and I might have already said this, I'm sorry, it's just like crazy to me. The Border Patrol agent asked her directly, does he know me, the driver, know that you're here illegally? And she said no. Like very clearly she said no, that I didn't know. Which I think is compelling, right?
Sure.
There's kind of two parties here. It's like me and the illegal, right? That's what creates the whole crime. And
Yeah.
it's like, even she's saying that I had no idea. Something that they didn't do, or at least it's not in that interview, and I don't know if they can do it retroactively. I wish they would, is to ask her, did you come through a church? They didn't ask anything about the side of the story that I gave them, which is weird. Why wouldn't they even give a chance for her to corroborate my story, right? Does that strike you as odd that this whole church thing, right?
It does, but I think also, and this is just me being ignorant and thinking while we're talking is, I think also it's kind of one of those things where it's like, whoops, I'll clean that up in a minute, but I think it's one of those things where I'm a Border Patrol agent, I'm in charge, I think you did something wrong, I see 2 or 3 things that indicate you did something wrong, and that's good to go, let's roll. Right?
Right.
Where a lawyer in court will be able to ask those questions and go deeper, and maybe that's where that gets flushed out, you know?
Right.
So
I just, you know, you articulated that perfectly. You know, they're there to investigate a crime. They're not there to investigate an innocent.
right.
You know what I mean?
Like a verdict.
And,
right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it just bothers me that they're just, it seems to be taking her for her word at everything. At least the way the interview kind of was going. And granted, it was getting translated to me, so you lose some stuff in context and everything like that. But I was like, why? It was like a 20-minute interview. It was over. They interviewed me for like hours, like 3 different times, like Mirandized me like 3 times. I was like, dude, I don't. And the investigator was like making it super personal, man. He's like, do it. Don't do it for me. Do it for them. And he has my phone. He's like showing me my kids. And I was like, dude. And then when we're done, then we're done talking. And he's like, I was like what? Like he was just standing there. And I was like what, man? What else do you want? I'll tell you anything. I've told you this whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have to say a word to you, but I told you this whole thing.
Yeah. All right, man. So after you leave the Border Patrol station, where do they take you to? You said they took you to a federal holding place, right? How long were you there for?
I think Sunday is when I went to go do this. And then I think I want to say it was the next Monday is when I came home, that I got granted bond. But between that, I think I spent 2 or 3 days at the Border Patrol station. And let me tell you, they leave all the lights on. I didn't have barely a sense of like, it was terrible. Yeah. It's meant to be terrible, you know, but, so my days got a little mixed up. It might've been 2 or 3 days. And then I think one of the agents actually told me, he was like, they might not sign your affidavit or whatever it is to like, okay, we're charging you. Right.
Okay. What was the purpose of that statement?
I don't know, but he said it was taking a long time, like an unusually amount of long time.
Is that kind of insinuating they may not charge you?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Like I thought at one point that I was like, I remember thinking either based off something that he said or just, it must have been off something he said. And I was barely sleeping. So I was like, you know, I was just totally miscombobulated, man. But I remember I was like, if I make it to this point, they're going to let me go. But obviously that didn't happen.
And you've already communicated to your wife since up to this point. You've already had a conversation with her?
Through the Border Patrol agent, because I convinced him.
Oh, so
like,
he contacted her.
Yeah, I was like, please just let me write a couple things down and relay them. And it's super emotional, dude, because like no communication for like 3 days. She didn't know what was going on.
She was probably worried something worse
dude,
happened.
Dude, yeah. She was tore up.
Yeah.
She still is. Like we're a wreck right now, man. Like it's been awful. But those days were like so critical, man. But dude, she just had like the exact words to like put my mind at rest, like that she's okay, you know, and like, dude, I try to make everything easy for her, bro. And so like all my stuff that was like in my car, they put it in boxes and they're like, if you don't come get it in 30 days, we're gonna throw it away. And she doesn't have her license, dude. She's like, she's young and she was a city girl, and we just started having babies right away. So like we just never like took the time to go get her license. So like she has to organize a ride, you know? And so I'm thinking of all this, like I drive, man. Like I take her everywhere. Like she doesn't have to do anything. Like I baby my girl, man. Like that's what I do. And so my number one thing, I was like, I just wrote down like, I love you. I'm okay. Don't worry about my stuff. And that was a message I got to the Border Patrol to get to her. And she said back, she was like, everything's gonna be okay. And I love you. And it was just like the exact thing I needed to hear. Like, and then it was the exact thing she needed to hear on her end of like, you know, you're still thinking about like how inconvenient it would be for me to get down there. Yeah. Like, you know, cause I don't know, man. That's just, you know, I freaking love her, man. And I just didn't want her to worry about stupid shit when this is going on. But it was awful, dude. It was awful. But you know, we said those things to each other, and it was like a big comfort. And so anyway, obviously the judge signs the whatever it is. I don't know, man. It's just basically like, okay, we're going to charge you. And they got some like third party, like prisoner transport people, which I thought was weird, to come pick me up. And we
that's so fucked up, because like it's like the full circle, right? Now some random third parties picking you up.
I had a conversation. It was a young lady, and whatever, I'm not going to criticize what they do, but I was like, I was just trying to be very careful, like how I move, and like, yes, ma'am, tell me what to do.
You're on eggshells, yeah.
Yeah, man, because I don't want to get like smoked by somebody that's nervous or something, you know. Yeah. So like, I was just trying to like, you know, make them feel comfortable and everything. And
they escorted you back to
and I was trying to make small talk, dude. I was like, what kind of license do you have to do this? She was like, I got it. And I was like, okay, you know, all right, you know, whatever. But yeah, I'm like all in chains, dude. It's, you know, like waist chain, like fully freaking, dude. It was like I was in freaking Azkaban, man, like Harry Potter, whatever. Yeah. Like I felt like a criminal, man. And
they escorted you back home?
No, so we drove like probably 20 minutes to the big boy jail. I keep calling it. And gotcha. That's when, like, dude, I shit you not, dude. I walk into the jail. The officer takes me in there in chains, and there's this older big dude. Immediately, what's up, man? You know, I don't want to fucking talk to anybody there. You know, what's up? You know, he goes, what they get you for? I was like, you know, whatever, man. You know, I just didn't answer. And he goes, who you run with? He's like, look at my tattoos. Like, instantly asked me if like what gang I'm affiliated with.
So this is as soon as you got there.
Dude, they hadn't even like written my name down or anything. Like this was like a holding cell so they could process the people that were there. It was like right off the little office, like an intake office, like just a little holding cell. There's another guy in there who was getting processed out. And he's like checking me, dude, like this hardcore gang member, dude. And I was like, this is a movie, dude. Like, this is like, this guy's like literally asking me who I run with, what gang I run with. Because I look like a fucking thug, you know, unfortunately. But, you know, he's like, who you run with? And I was like, I said, I'm not a gang member, man. And he goes, solamente. That's what you have to say, solamente. And I was like, okay, whatever. And dude, like through every process, like when you go to court, they wake up at 3 a.m. and you gotta like interact with other cells, and they're like talking to each other real fast, you know what I mean? So they're like pressing me and asking me what's up, and they're like, who, you know, everybody, who you run with, who you with, solamente, you know, like, you know, eventually they kind of got like, all right, this guy's like not supposed to be here, you know. Yeah. Like, don't, you know, it's like all the English speakers were smugglers. Everybody that didn't speak English were illegals. That's literally how it was broken up. And dude,
so was it kind of like eye-opening for you to see? Because like you said, when you initially got stopped at the checkpoint. It was kind of old hat to them. They've seen it a bunch of times, and they just
Right.
kind of processed you. And now you see the end result of that, and it's like, holy shit, they have busted a bunch of people for this, because, like you said, it's kind of
Dude,
not a whole lot of variety.
that place
there.
was chock full. It's huge. It's chock full. Like, so many people in there, dude. It's unbelievable. It's all the same crimes. All the English speakers were there for smuggling. Every single one of them. One of the dudes, it was his 8th time doing it. One of the other dudes, he was a prior convicted felon. He was saying how his girl and this and that, and he got her into it, and he feels bad. He knew. 100% he knew. Another dude, I'm going to kill the motherfucker that got me into this. As soon as I get out, he's dead. He knows he's dead. Telling us. I didn't talk to anybody, but I sat at those tables, right? The English speakers. I hear him just telling everybody, I'm gonna kill him. He's dead. He knows he's dead. I know where he lives. Then later, a couple days later, whatever, he's talking, yeah, I'd do it again. I'm going, as soon as I get out of here, I'm doing it again. Pays too good. And that's when I heard him talking about he gets paid $3,000 or $4,000, whatever it was. I want to say $4,500. And I was like, you're a nut. First of all, I feel like I got cheated, right? But second of all, I still wouldn't do it for that much, dude. You're an idiot, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have anything in common with these freaking idiots, dude. I don't. And like, I don't have a problem calling these guys idiots, man. And I'll tell you what, too, and you can leave this shit in. The motherfuckers that got me into this shit, you're a motherfucking coward. You can come find me. I'm not going to give you my address. I'm not going to tell you what city I live in. If you can figure it out on your own, then it is what it is. But you're a fucking coward. And you should have told me what this shit was from the beginning. But you're a fucking coward. And the only reason I don't tell you where to meet me and when is because I have a fucking family that relies on me. I'm telling you right now that you are not a fucking man. You're a fucking coward. So just want to get that out there.
Yeah. It's
There's plenty of people willing to do this shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like to rope me into the whole stupid fucking story. Like,
well, it sounds like it's super elaborate, right? And it's
why? That dude, he could have done it for you.
Well, that's the thing too, is it's not like they're hurting for people to do that job.
That's what I don't get, man.
And and maybe they did a great job of covering their ass because they thought maybe whoever is answering that other side could be affiliated with law enforcement. Maybe that's, their means and reason for doing that kind of stuff. But like, it's tough, man. And this is the problem with all this is in talking to you. And I mean, we just met today. We've talked a few times over the phone, and I feel like you're being honest, right? So it's kind of one of those things where, with other people that I've talked to that have already been, you haven't gone to court yet. These other guys have. Yeah. One thing that bothers me and worries me for people like them and people like you is the attitude of, as a prosecuting attorney, that I want to win. And I want to have as many people as possible. And we've talked before about Gary and other people, it's like, how good does it feel as a prosecuting attorney to go, hey, I busted a dirty cop, or I busted an ex-military guy, or I busted, an FBI agent, and it's kind of like there's a stupid game that happens and where it's kind of like it's winning over the truth. And this is the problem is, it sucks so bad because even if they come back to you and go, hey, we're going to send you a plea deal and it's going to be super sweet, man. You're going to get 3 months of probation. And you can do it from home, you'll be home. But you're labeled a fucking felon.
It's a life sentence, man.
For the rest of your life, man. And that's a crazy thing.
Anything I get is a life sentence.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm not accepting that, period.
It's crazy because it affects your means to provide for your family. And it's just to get a win. And it's like, okay, do you really think somebody, whether it's you or somebody else, does the prosecuting attorney really believe that this person is guilty? And if they are, why do you give them such a low fucking sentence? Just so you can win?
Right.
And that's the thing is like,
yeah, that's a weird thing about plea deals, right?
Yeah, and it's like if they're guilty of what you think they're guilty of,
max sentence,
fucking give it to them, right?
Yeah.
If they're not, then why are you giving them anything? Because you're screwing up the rest of their life.
Yeah. What I want to say too, and this is a point that I wanted to make, an indictment. This is something I learned in all this. and a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people just say, "Oh, he was indicted by a grand jury." Like, it is a jury deciding whether there's enough evidence to take it to court. Here's the problem with that, and I didn't know this. It's only the prosecution that's allowed to give evidence to this grand jury, and they are not bound by the limitations in regular court. In other words, the objection, relevance. They can bring anything, almost anything, that they can even remotely relate to whatever crime that they're prosecuting to get that indictment. There's no defense attorney there. It's just one attorney, a prosecutor, bringing what they feel is relevant to a jury who is clueless. You might know a little bit more about the justice system, but the average juror just wants to get out of jury duty one, right? Yeah. Doesn't want to sit in deliberations to decide to not indict somebody, and is just going to sit there and listen to somebody that's way smarter and way well versed in law, right, or about law than them, spew about how they caught this horrible human smuggler, right? Almost said trafficker. Very important that we realize that this was smuggling, not trafficking, because trafficking is for the purpose of human exploitation, whether forced labor or sex. A lot of people have been throwing that term around. I'm not a human trafficker. It's much more serious crime. Anyway, so logic would say that you're like, yeah, this administration's in here. Let's get them. Indict them. And it's like, it's a wash vote. It's like, if you're getting charged with this, of course you're going to get indicted. But people don't know that. And so they say, oh, he was already indicted. A lot of people who reached out to me wanting to share my story but no more ask that same question, have you been indicted? Yes. But do you know what that means? You know what I mean? Like, this is one of those nuances that everybody knows exist within the justice system. Like, there's ins and outs. The indictment's one of them. It's a big one. Because if the indictment says, hold on a second, what evidence do you have that he was smuggling or knew he was smuggling or was being reckless in his behavior, right? He took an indirect route. That's how I was indicted. My lawyer argued at my bond hearing that the state had failed to show probable cause to detain me because the only probable cause they used was an indirect route to San Antonio. Like we discussed before, how many times have you clicked Google and it suggests a route that's 29 minutes out of your way? And you're like, oh, I'm not doing that. And then you get up to the point and you're like, dang, I should have taken that route. Sure. You know what I mean? Like, I clicked a link and I went, man. Like, I don't know why that's such either a hard thing to believe or like, you know, wasn't accepted in that context.
Was that link still part of your phone when
it has to be. Okay. It has to be in that phone.
And who has your phone? Your lawyer or the...
Like I said, I fully cooperated, gave up my password, everything, gave them my phone. And they couldn't find it, supposedly. My lawyer has it.
Phone?
No, they can't find it within my phone.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Because you talked about the WhatsApp earlier, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it's a link, and I feel like it should also be in my Google history, my pings. And I actually instructed the investigator from my lawyer. I said, you need to look into like the phone pings, because like wherever it's pinging, there's not much out there. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's a rabbit hole I don't want to go down. I don't know exactly what they're looking at, or I don't even know what a ping is, to be honest. Yeah. I just know that that's what they say, you know, like to see where I was at, you know, but I guess it's
the tower following your route or something.
Yeah. And your phone gives off like it's checking basically.
Yeah. I guess that's what, and this is me just assuming, I'm pulling this out of my ass, but I'm assuming my phone is constantly searching for a tower. And when I leave a certain tower, it picks up at another tower. And so now between those two towers, they could probably see the route I'm taking, right? Because they're going, okay, well he's this tower for a while, and then he got picked up on this tower, kind of thing. I think that's how it works.
I hope they can find that. Like I said, it was literally a link that I clicked on. There has to be some kind of record of that, right? So, you know, but that's what they used to indict me, which seems to me pretty weak. Yeah. But they also are going to bring in anything they think is relevant, right? I had firearms on me, and I want to talk about that too. I had mentioned that in that other interview I did, and somebody was like, bro, you don't even know what you're talking about. You don't need a CCW to carry in Texas. Like, whoa. All I'm saying is that I have a CCW. Mm-hmm. So logic would say that I always carry a firearm. I have my CCW so that I can do work in other states, concealed, that require a permit, that recognize Texas. That's the only reason I have it. I obviously know that you can carry constitutional carry, right? That's the term. The only reason I have it, but I'm saying I have a concealed carry permit. That would mean that I carry a firearm regularly, right?
And what people need to understand that because people hear this podcast in a lot of places that are not Texas,
right?
And what people need to understand is there's better people who understand the law better than I do, but I do understand because I still have a concealed carry license. Mm-hmm. But that law changed just recently to where, not to say that license is obsolete, but it's not required and you can still carry. Mm-hmm. There's certain requirements to that, like whether I don't think you can carry openly or something. I think you have to conceal. I might be screwing that up. But that was a law that changed recently here in the state of Texas. But most people still carry that. And I do too, because that's something that when I get pulled over, here's my driver's license and here's my concealed carry license as well. Mm-hmm. And that's just me conveying to them, hey, I'm letting you know right out the gate that I have one of these. So
yeah. I mean, it's just a fact of the case, because there was a firearm involved, and so of course the prosecutor's going to say, he had this many guns and this many bullets. Which, by the way, I was found with my weapon, and then I had literally dropped off my slide to get worked on for my wife's gun. Mm-hmm. She was getting an optic put on. So if you read the paperwork, they found two guns and a bunch of it was
one was inoperable.
It's not even that it was inoperable. It's you're right. That's the easy way to say it, but whatever. It's just such a miscombobulation of what the truth is. Like it can't fire. It's not. It's taken apart. I don't know what else to say. And it wasn't even accessible to me. It was like in the I had like behind the seat or whatever. Like in a zipper, and I was like, but of course they're gonna say he had 2 firearms on him, this many magazines, and I had a rifle ammo for like a hunting rifle I had that I didn't have the gun, but they were like, this is how many rounds of ammunition he had, but they're counting the rifle ammo for a gun that I don't have. Sure. And then when they brought up, at my bond hearing, they brought up an expert witness from the Border Patrol. The Border Patrol agent, the prosecutor asks him, and this is just, it's just a fact. Asks him, does all that ammo go to those guns? And he said, I don't know. After saying that it was different calibers. So it's for somebody listening.
There's a contradiction there.
Yes, it's literally saying that square peg may go down that round hole, but I don't know. Right. You do know. Right. You do. It's a rifle cartridge, and I only had a pistol on me. You're lying. You're just trying to make it seem like I had all this ammo. I forgot that I had a box of hunting ammo in my car, man.
Well, this is what's fucked up is
you're using it against me.
If I bring in if I almost said the state. If I'm the federal bureau, right? If I'm the prosecuting side, and I bring in an expert, how the fuck are you going to accept an answer of I don't know? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like
I think it's like. It's possible, or something really disingenuous, really,
Right.
But and I don't know the exact wording. What I do know is this U.S. Marshal who kind of acts as the bailiffs. Like there's a marshal standing right behind me at all times. He like hung his head and shook his head. Yeah. And I was like, because he knows,
Yeah.
Well, he knows what he's doing.
Let me tell you something. And
super disingenuous, man.
This is something that I want people to also understand too. Is I should probably not say this, but anyway,
come on.
I keep a shotgun in my truck.
Good,
right?
Yeah.
And in the state of Texas, we have truck guns, right? 100%. And it is a truck. It is a gun in my truck.
100%.
And I keep this shotgun that is very lightweight. And by the way, I hope I never have to shoot anybody with it because we're both going to the hospital. That shit hurts. But the other thing, and I'm listening to you, and I'm kind of applying it to myself because I go, okay, well, I keep a fucking shotgun in the truck, and I've got a lot of 12 gauge ammo. But this is the thing: is I've got turkey load, I have buckshot, I have bird shot, and it's like it's my rattlesnake gun, but fuck, I might go shoot turkey with it.
Right.
I might shoot skeet with it. I might want to shoot a larger animal, and so I've got. And I'll tell you right now, I think I've got probably like 24 rounds in there, but it's like 5 of this, 5 of that, 5 of that, 5 of that, because different loads do different things. Yeah, but it sounds like, man, he's got a lot of.
If you don't know,
he's got a shotgun and a lot of ammo in there.
if you're a juror and that's not your thing,
yeah,
you're gonna take them at their word.
And that's really scary, man, because it's like
I had one pistol on me, man.
Yeah,
I had one pistol on me.
Well, that's the other thing.
Period.
Is I carry a handgun too. Mm-hmm. So when I'm in my truck, I got 2 guns.
Multiple firearms.
Yeah.
Loaded.
I'm in my truck. There's times, I know people that during hunting season, they'll keep several guns in their truck,
if you're going to the range.
Yeah. And it's kind of, it's very scary because, we talked about the podcast I did with Shipley, and what Shipley did was he sold a gun to a buddy who put it up for consignment and ended up in Mexico. Mm-hmm. How many times do Americans sell a fucking gun or give a gun away? Yeah. And it happens all the time. And the scary thing is, and seems to be a reoccurring deal when I talk to folks that are in a similar situation. If the federal government wants you, they're going to do whatever they have to get you. And
unlimited budget.
Unlimited budget. They. I didn't know the thing about the indictment. It's like, man, it's very discouraging because
it doesn't seem right to me.
That
process seems flawed.
Well, if you take the approach of innocent till proven guilty, that doesn't follow those lines. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is, hey, we're trying to build a case, and the ball's in our court. It's super scary, man. And it's super scary because, I've never met anybody in the situation that you're currently in, but think about how easy it was to get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I mean, I actually did a little experiment, and I posted in one of these networks that I'm sorry. This was a controlled. I didn't actually try to recruit people for this.
Right.
I need to say that. I got some people in my networks, and I said, here's the ad. Who wants to go do this? I copied and pasted the information. And they said, I'd volunteer to do that. And these are all dudes that I've worked with before, have clearances, or are cops, or were cops, same kind of dudes, right? Like, yeah, I'd ask a few questions and I'd go do it. And I said, in my closer friend group, this is what I show them everything. This is what I was being told. These are the questions I asked. Why wouldn't I? What more should I ask?
Sure.
And, I've seen a couple comments that are like, you should have called your local ICE office. And I was like, I wanted a payday, man. Like,
sure.
They would have just moved on to the next guy, and I would have lost out on this job opportunity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I also get the preservation of privacy. Like, would it have been appropriate for me? Like, I need their names, I need pictures of them, and copies of their passports. Like, no, we already did all that. You don't need to do all that. You know what I mean? That's what I kind of assumed was the deal. That, I don't know, man. I looking back, of course, right? Like Monday morning quarterback, I've been doing it to myself. Of course, I wish I would have done all that. And if they would have refused, obviously I wouldn't have taken it.
Yeah.
My brain just didn't go there. I received the reassurances I wanted. Again, a plethora of information, addresses, which are probably Airbnbs back to nobody, right? Or whatever. Pictures in their church, first and last names, phone numbers, contact this person if you have any issues. Phone conversation. I hear your voice. I would recognize your voice, right? Okay. Drop a pin. I'll be there. Too easy. No problem. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody's all nice and polite, and nobody had a Central American accent of any kind. Like just talking to a white dude. Just he said, I can't. I've done these pickups, and I would love to do it this evening, but I can't this evening. This family's ready to go. Can you please? We really appreciate you. Let anything you need. Blah blah blah. And I went, man. And it caused this whirlwind of absolute hell that I'm in now.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I first talked to Gary about you, initially, Gary didn't have any. He had some information, but not a whole lot. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because my first thought was you didn't do your due diligence, and it sounds like you attempted to, right? And you got enough information that you feel comfortable. You know, hey, this is legit. I'm gonna go for it, or I'm gonna take this job, and it's funny because it's kind of like, well, when you're doing that type of work or any kind of work, you know, you always go, okay, well, I'm gonna dot my T's and cross my I's, but it's, you know, or vice versa. I screwed that up, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, you can do your due diligence, but how do you know when you went far enough? You know what I'm saying? And for a job that's going to be, you know, let's say 6-hour job for $750, you know, I'm not going to spend a week trying to run this whole thing down. I'm either going to take the job or I'm not going to take it, you know? And it sounds like you got caught up in something that you put effort into learning about it. It's just, they were better at it, right? So
Right.
they
And like I said, I never thought that my circle would cross with somebody like that circle.
yeah,
And I need to clarify this too. There is no church. There's no pastor. This was just an illegal smuggling operation, period.
pretty elaborate.
They roped me into it for somebody that never thought that our paths would cross.
And
I was truly just not able to pick up on stuff that I'm like, I could have asked this, or I could have called my local ICE office, I guess, or whatever, or like flipped through their passport and whatever. I don't know. I don't even know what else I would have or could have done. Obviously, I wish I hadn't done it, right, at all,
Sure.
right? But in that moment, I have to stay true to myself and say, they just roped me into it, man. And for whatever cause it was, I've heard people say you were a decoy, and they wanted all the focus on you so that they could bring the bus through or whatever, right? Or the trailer with 50 people on or whatever. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. But like I keep coming back to, why spin me this whole story? There's 50 dumbasses in jail right now that'll go do it for you as soon as they get out.
Sure.
I heard them say that they would.
Yeah.
I'm telling you firsthand. I'm telling you firsthand.
Yeah.
These guys are down to do it again for you. Go get them, dude. Don't fuck with me and my family,
Yeah.
my clearance, my career. You fucked my whole life up, man.
Yeah.
By roping me into this shit. Why me?
And just for clarity, like you mentioned earlier, you had no involvement in their crossing the border. These people were already in the
Absolutely
state of
not.
Texas, and you're for clarity's sake, it was between you escorted them or drove them from one Texas town to another one.
Absolutely.
Right? And so it wasn't a matter of, hey, you
From a
participated.
normal little house.
Right. It wasn't like you participated in them crossing the border. It
Not
was,
at all.
It was
Not at all.
here in the States. So, man, I tell you what, do you have a court date or do you have anything that you're aware of or what your next deal is? Or
Sorry, I was checking the date. July 22nd is my court date now. Likely to get moved back due to the fact that we just got the rest of the discovery, I believe. And so, the court hopefully will allow us time to strategize and review that and, see how it fits into the whole case and everything like that. But who knows, man? I know that they know that I'm doing this kind of media blitz kind of thing, you know, because like Gary said, it's important to be loud,
Sure.
I hate that my face is out there, man. I just want to I've got chickens and stuff. I just take up all my time, my kids, and I just want to get back to that, dude. I don't want people getting mad about how much money I'm asking for and stuff. 80 G's of that is going to go to a real lawyer immediately.
yeah,
That's just what it takes. The rest of it, hopefully my wife can make it stretch to take care of my family. It's not going to be enough. People know what it is to have 3 kids.
Sure.
It's still not going to be enough. But, my friend's wife set that up for me, and we came up with that number to, hopefully keep my wife's head afloat. Should the worst happen, I truly have faith that it won't. But, I don't know, man. It's freaking scary. And,
Are you trying to maintain a attitude of, hey, this is going to work out in a positive light, or have you already kind of, a lot of times I think guys tend to go, okay, this is the negative outcome, and you almost go there mentally to see what that's going to be like before you go there. Have you experienced that where you sit there and go, well, if I leave, this is what it's going to look like?
There's optimism and there's realism, and those things can coexist. And I want to say I'm doing my best at that. I'm extremely optimistic because I believe truth will prevail. I believe God's been hearing my prayer. I've come 100% closer to Christ just in these last few months. I begged and reckoned with God, and I said, I will bring you, at the time I said 3 souls, my wife, my 2 kids, now it's 4. I can't make any promises for myself, but I said, I will lead 4 souls to you, or 3 souls to you, now 4. I promise you. I said, I will do everything in my power as a dad, as a husband, to bring you those souls if you deliver me from this. And I got bond.
Yeah.
So, he heard me. 100%. Sure. He heard me. I'm hoping all the prayer me and my wife have done, and we even sing in prayer together, which I thought was weird before, but now it's we love to just belt it out and sing together and pray. And, I'm hoping he hears all that too, right? For the big one, right?
Sure.
Boom, not guilty.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping and praying for. But I'm a realist, and I think it's ungodly to not prepare my family mentally. And, I've done a lot of things just financially and around the house and stuff to kind of ensure that she's kind of ready for my absence. Also just logistics stuff, paperwork and license plates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So she's not have to screw with it if I have to go. So, but dude, we have bad days, man, where we don't want to get out of bed. Literally if my kids weren't telling us milk or bacon, they want bacon, and all right, we got to get out of bed. We got to take care of these kids, and then every day I'm, answer messages or trying to pick up a job. It really enraged me, man. The other day when I was got an offer letter, come work, come do this. Hey, can I go do this? It's one of the conditions of my release. Can I go work? No, denied, because you can't do your drug test. By the way, I do one once a month.
What's the deal with a drug test? What do you mean?
It's one of the conditions of my release.
No, but what do you mean that you can't do the drug test?
Because I would have been in California. So
so you would have been here to do
right.
it. Gotcha.
I had to pee in a cup every month. I just did it. It was for a 2-week gig. So, yes, I call in to see if I have a random drug test, but it's once a month. And I would have been back before I was scheduled for my next drug test. So they just don't want me to go anywhere. It's just about control, I think.
Well, I would imagine, and I don't know, this is wishful thinking or speculation, but I would imagine, if I'm expecting you to do a drug test every month and you do 6 or 7 of them and there's nothing in it, I don't need you to do a drug test anymore. It'd be one thing if you popped once or twice here or there, but if you're not,
my preacher officer has said you're exemplary. She doesn't even. I shouldn't say that. Whatever.
Gotcha.
She has to come. Well, She has to come do inspections of my
Sure.
home, make sure I don't have firearms or drugs or whatever. I don't know what she's looking for. They're just phone check-ins now. Nobody's even coming out to my house because she's stated herself that I'm exemplary, that I've done everything. Even my lawyers are we have a lot of our clients mess up, and I was why do you guys just think I'm a criminal now? It doesn't make sense. The way I'm being treated is I'm not a criminal. I know I need to convince you in court, but I didn't just up and decide one day to become a criminal. It doesn't make sense.
Well, that's the problem with the whole process, right? Is when you.
Well, it's not catered to me, yeah.
Well, you got to remember that these attorneys or these staff members that are affiliated with the whole process, the legal process, you just said it yourself when you were there at the federal prison. It's chock full of people. You know, so 99% of the people that they come across are blatantly guilty and don't give a shit.
Yeah, just scumbags. Yeah, and popping on drug tests. Yeah, there were guys that violated while they're out on bond.
Yeah. So dude
that's ripped off his ass on mushrooms. He was talking about it. I was you went home and you just got too high to even function while you're on bond. What's the matter with you? And I get, dude, I'm not trying to be like some people have issues, man. I have good family support system. I understand the cards are I'm not saying I'm better than those people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I've made better choices my whole life than those people. And maybe circumstantially I was able to, right? Great family, like I said. But don't don't pretend that I just became someone else and now I don't have that support system. Like, you're discrediting my whole life now. You know what I mean? And just the fact that they were like, you know, you have to find work. I get an offer letter and they tell me I can't go based on the fact that I have to continue to do drug tests. Dude, I had a top secret clearance for years and years. I worked overseas as a contractor. Like, I've held a clearance since I was like 19 or something when I was in the military. Like, more than 10 years I've had a clearance. And just one day I just decided to violate every oath I've ever taken. All my lifestyle choices
for $750.
Dude, yeah. What do we, like, just like you were saying, like they're interested in wins. Okay, that's fine. Win. I want you to win. But let's stay within the logical bounds of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking you for, you know, is like to accept that I didn't throw away my whole life for $750, man.
Yeah.
You know?
So have they told you what, or it may be too early, but have they told you like your sentencing, what they're looking at or what you're looking at as far as?
So that was a big part of it. And I did another video that I was like just about a month or so out of jail. And when you are looking at like, because I could go to for 10 years, man.
That's the really. Yes. That's my jeez.
There's nothing saying to the judge that he can't give me 10 years in prison. They have sentencing guidelines, and what they're told in the sentencing guidelines is, with a guilty plea, is 18 to 24 months. That's without additional cooperation for me. So I could do, it's called like a 5K debrief or something like that. And I would go talk to the agents and basically be like, just everything I can remember, and like just go into super detail and like just further my cooperation, right? Which I've told him everything I can even think of. And that might give me a little less than 18 to 24, but that's the guidelines with a guilty plea, 18 to 24. With a guilty verdict in court, right? They're basically saying like you wasted the court's time, and like, so the sentence is going to be more severe because you're not accepting responsibility. It's 27 to 33 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's on the low end?
27 months would be on the low end. 33 would be the max of the guidelines. But again.
Oh, gotcha.
They could give me
10. I mean, that would be that would be worst case scenario when everything went south all of a sudden. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Technically, they could do 10 consecutive sentences, because I'm charged with
the girl and the mom separately?
I'm charged with smuggling and conspiracy to smuggle. There's 2 separate charges on my indictment, which is like,
where's the conspiracy? What are they considering the conspiracy?
Just the fact that there was communication. So in other words, I think I could still get charged with conspiracy even if I hadn't gone and picked them up. If I just conspired
so just the communication with these
I believe
people.
So.
Oh, gotcha.
So conspiracy to commit that crime is a crime. Gotcha. And then committing the crime is a crime. I could technically get 10 years back to back.
I think we talked
each of those.
I think we talked about this, but maybe we didn't. I can't remember. Where did you find that at again? Or is that a bad idea to say where you found it? For the job. Where did that pop up on your radar?
It's still one of the guys that I found. Is I forgot how they had like a company, like something transportation. I like went and looked it up, but the ad's still up. I don't know if it's like an inactive Instagram or something like that, but I mean, they have like real followers and like active followers. You know what I mean? Like, you go to their followers, you could see like that they're posting on their story. That's like real people. Gotcha. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's still up there, man. The phone number, the name, you can see everything.
That's crazy, man.
But I got this one off Facebook.
Facebook, okay. Alex, I hope things work out positively for you. I think that you got a strong case to, again, like we said earlier, the law was broken, but to the letter of the law, you know, were you knowingly doing what you were doing?
Right.
And, you know, in conversation with you and meeting you and talking to you, it seems like there was some deception on their part aimed at you, you know. And I think the important thing is for people to realize that this can happen to anybody that's interested in that line of work, and that's one thing that it's kind of like you've got to be super careful, and not hindsight's 2020, like we've been saying this whole time, but it's like you've got to be so careful, man. And I'm not saying you in particular. I'm saying people in general have got to be careful because, these people that have been smuggling people have been doing it forever, and they're real good at it because they've been getting them across forever,
Right.
And with the last administration, the escorting across the border was just through the roof, man. And I hate that you got caught up in that, and I really do hope that things work out for you because you're not a seasoned criminal, and it's unfortunate that even if they try and give you the least amount, if you're found guilty, it changes your life forever. It's going to change your family's life forever, and then there's a new battle for you, right? And that's trying to get a pardon. But the goal is to not go through that at all, and I'm hoping that the not to go back to the guys that we've talked to in the past, but I don't feel like the prosecuting side was being reasonable, and hopefully that's different. Hopefully that changes, and hopefully there's people out there that aren't concerned so much with the winning and more concerned with what is the right thing to do and the truth, right? So, and I just wish the best for you. Is there anything else you want to tell folks, or is there anything else you want to share?
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. It was a really good conversation. I just hope people realize, like you said, you see on these like San Antonio Facebook, like, can anybody give me a ride from Corpus to San Antonio? I can't afford it, whatever.
Yeah.
They might be an illegal alien, man. Like, it's really that simple.
There's a lot of kids that got busted doing that, man.
I can give you $500. And someone's like, oh, yeah, sweet, no problem. And you get pulled over and you're like, in this world where you're like, it's really that simple. And then what, are you going to rip that person apart for, why didn't you check their legal status? You know what I mean? Like, dude, come on, man. Like, I get now that it was weird, right? And like, sure. Dude, but I've done such weirder jobs. Like, like this really just wasn't this big, like, everything that's going on. It wasn't in my mind, man, and I asked some questions and I got good answers, talked to them on the phone. They gave me a plethora of information, man. Like, I was like, I could lead any of this back to them. They wouldn't be giving me this much information. They would just mute me and move on to the next one, right? Yeah. Never thought our circles could pass and then, or could cross, right? And then, said yes, and I'm in the world I'm in now, But just definitely just vet better, just don't put anybody in your car, there's no reason for it. But if people want to follow your story, where can they follow you, or you have a website? I know you got an Instagram, but do you have what is your Instagram, and how can people kind of follow your story? My Instagram's personal. Okay. Yeah. Well, I thought I found one that was yes. Okay. I'm just saying my personal one. Yeah. If you want to follow me, I'll on a case by case basis. I'll let you. But Fortress Not a Felon. Okay. And then all the links are there. And then fortressnotafelon.org. And then there's all the websites link to each other and everything. Okay. This really angel lady helped us set everything up, and she's been like a shoulder to lean on for my wife and stuff. She's a mother of 7, and her husband does the same kind of work I do. And, she was just kind of like, this could have been my husband, and she just really took it to heart, and she's been like just an absolute angel. But fortressnotafelon.org. Okay. And like you said a minute ago, man, there's a lot of really young people out there. And I know here, I guess maybe if last year sometime I'd seen that there was a few 18, 19, 20-something year olds giving people rides and getting busted. Knowingly or not knowingly, I don't know. Mm. But it's nothing for, your 20-year-old college student to want a few bucks and see it come across on Facebook, and all of a sudden, hey, I just got to run to Corpus and bring somebody to San Antonio, and I'm going to make a few bucks. And it's like, it's important that those guys were in there too. Yeah, and I mean, it's important
for people to hear this, to talk to your kids about that shit, because
Right.
you don't want them getting, into the same position, and they're just kids themselves,
Right.
So,
And one last thing, the state of Texas is a 10-year minimum sentence for smuggling.
wow,
So thank God it wasn't a state trooper. I guess I'm still in hot water.
sure,
But I didn't know that. And, that's scary, right? 10-year minimum sentence for smuggling.
wow,
No matter, dude, think about that one, right? State trooper pulls you over, you have illegals. You're getting 10 years, man. Your life is over not for bringing somebody in, for giving someone a ride, for furthering their presence in the United States. So,
yeah. Alex Szinnyey, right?
Szinnyey.
Szinnyey? Okay,
Yeah.
I mispronounced it.
It's
but
not too bad.
Alex Szinnyey. All right.
Yes, sir.
So people can check you out online. They can go
Yes,
to
sir.
your website, and I think there was a place to donate there if they want to contribute, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And man, I wish you luck, man. And we'll keep in touch, and we'll get another one of these going once you get set loose.
I'm so sorry. I know you're
Absolutely.
trying to close it out.
No,
One
no,
last
no, let
thing.
it rip.
Somebody was dogging on me online because my GoFundMe got shut down. We have an appeal in. It was shut down because I was indicted of a violent crime. That is not true. I don't know why they're calling smuggling a violent crime, because it is not. They said it was for human trafficking, which it is not. I'll post whatever. I can post the indictment. I just need to make that clarification that we have an appeal in to GoFundMe, and we just want to ensure that there was no kind of violent or trafficking. That's not what I'm charged with, period.
Yeah.
So I just needed to say that, and we're on Give, Send, Go now.
Okay.
Thanks,
All right,
man.
Absolutely, man.
All
And
right.
we'll follow up. We'll stay in touch.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Gabe Molina Podcast.
Yo, Barry.